Okay, so in this video I will do a practice question related to dividend policy. Basically the type of the question is case study. So first let's read the whole question, and if there is anything important I'll write it in the note. So Components Manufacturing Corporation has an all common equity capital structure. So let's jot down some points. Number one is that their capital structure is all common equity, which means they do not have any debt and they do not have any preferred stock. जितनी भी financing है वो common equity के through ही हो रही है. This is the capital structure of the business. Now it has 200,000 shares of $2 par value common stock outstanding. Number of shares कितने हैं? Number of shares हैं 200,000 with a par value of 2. Let's read ahead. When CMC's founder, who was also its research director and most successful inventor, retired unexpectedly to the South Pacific in the late 2008, CMC was left suddenly and permanently with materially lower growth expectations and relatively few attractive new investment opportunities. So basically the founder has left the organization और उसके बाद से उनको लग रहा है कि growth expectations और opportunities कम हो गई हैं business की. So there was no way to replace the founder's contribution to the firm. Previously, CMC found it necessary to plow back most of its earning to finance growth, which averaged 12% per year. So founder के retire होने से पहले ज़्यादातर earnings flow back हो रही थी. Now what exactly is flow back? Okay, so flow back कहते किस चीज़ को हैं? Flow back कहते हैं the amount that is being reinvested in the business. फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल अगर बिज़नेस की अर्निंग्स 10 है एंड इसमें से 6 इज़ बीइंग पेड आउट टू दी शेयर होल्डर्स, यानी कि 6 रुपीज़ का डिविडेंड जा रहा है शेयर होल्डर्स को और बाकी का जो 4 है वो रिटेन हो रहा है बिजनेस में. सो दिस अमाउंट दैट इज़ बीइंग रिटेन्ड इज़ कॉल्ड द फ्लो बैक एंड द अमाउंट दैट इज़ बीइंग पेड आउट टू द शेयर होल्डर्स इज़ कॉल्ड पे आउट. Okay, so this is a terminology that you should know. Flow back simply means कि कितना पैसा business में ही दोबारा reinvest हो रहा है. So let me just erase this. So it said over there that previously when the founder was there, the flow back ratio was very high. So flow back ratio was high at that time. और उस टाइम पे इस वजह से जो ग्रोथ रेट था वो भी ज़्यादा था, 12% पे था. Okay, so this is before the founder went away. Now let's read ahead. Future growth at a 6% is considered realistic, but that level would call for an increase in the dividend payout. So future यानी कि after the founder has left, so future में they expect कि वो 12% growth rate sustain नहीं कर पाएंगे. Their growth rate will be 6% because they do not have much opportunities. They said in the beginning जब opportunities नहीं है तो पैसे को reinvest करके flow back करके क्या करना है? It's better to pay out more over here. So if they are paying out more, reinvestment के लिए पैसा कम हो जाएगा and they will flow back less. So this is a situation after the founder has left. Now let's read ahead. Okay, where were we? Further, it now appears the new investment projects with at least the 14% rate of return required by CMC stockholders would amount to only $800,000 for 2009 compared to a project's $2 million of net income. Okay, so they have given us three informations over here. The required rate of return RS is 14%. So let's write this down. The required rate of return RS is 14%. Then they told us that the future project, so the capital budgeting से मतलब है जो फ्यूचर में वो इन्वेस्टमेंट करने वाले हैं उसकी अमाउंट है 800,000 if I'm right. 800,000 ही थी ना, 800,000. And the net income is 2 million. Now moving ahead. Okay, so if the existing 20% dividend payout was continued, retained earnings would be 1.6 million in 2009. But as noted, the investments that yield the 14% cost of capital would amount to only 800,000. Existing dividend payout क्या है business का 20,000. So let's go back. Existing यानी कि अभी का जो payout है वो 20% में. फ्यूचर में तो वो payout को increase करने का सोच रहे हैं अभी. Okay, so this is payout. Sorry, flowback के साथ मैंने लिख दिया, so it might be misleading. I'll erase this. Basically यहाँ पे जो payout है वो इस वक्त 20% है and the flowback is more over here. ज़्यादा reinvest हो रहा है. And in the future they are thinking of increasing this payout ratio. So 20% से ये increase होने वाला है. Now let's go back. Okay, so the one encouraging point is that the high earnings from existing assets are expected to continue and net income of 2 million is still expected for 2009. Given the dramatically changed circumstances, CMC's management is reviewing the firm's dividend policy. Assume that the acceptable 2009 investment project would be financed entirely by earnings retained during the year and assuming that CMC uses the residual dividend model, calculate DPS in 2009. So we need to calculate the dividend payout per share. Dividend per share, sorry. So let's go back. Now the part A asks us to calculate the, dividend per share. So for the formula for dividend per share is the dividend amount divided by the number of shares. We know how much is the number of shares, right? 200,000 are the number of shares. लेकिन हमें ये नहीं पता कि dividend कितना pay होगा. For that, the question has asked us to use the residual dividend model. Okay, so the residual dividend model, the formula according to this is that your dividend is basically a leftover. So net income minus the target equity ratio multiplied by the total, this is total, sorry. Total capital budget. So let's go back and see what information we have. Net income. Net income is 2 million. So this is 2 million. Target equity ratio. They didn't tell us the target equity ratio, but in the beginning they said something that the business has all common equities. So there is no debt and there is no preferred stock as well. So if that is the case, अगर weightage debt और preferred stock की 0 है, इसका मतलब है common equity is 100%. 100% का मतलब क्या होता है कि So this is 1. The target equity ratio is 1. Total financing सिर्फ और सिर्फ इक्विटी के साथ हो रही है. टोटल कैपिटल बजट क्या है, इन्वेस्टमेंट कितनी करनी है. सो इन्वेस्टमेंट हमें करनी थी 800,000 की. सो जो नेट इनकम है 2 मिलियन की, उसमें से 800,000 तो आपने इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए अलग रख देने. पीछे जो पैसे बच गए दैट इज़ 1200,000. This is the leftover which can be paid to the shareholders in the form of dividend. So we have the dividend amount as well now. Now we can calculate the DPS, the dividend per share. So dividend per share is the dividend amount which is 1200,000 and we need to calculate कि एक शेयर पे कितना dividend पे हो रहा है. So divided by the number of shares which is 200,000. The dividend per share is 6 according to the residual dividend model. Now let's go back and see what is the next part. What payout ratio does your answer to part A imply for 2009? So what payout ratio does this imply? So this is B. The formula for payout ratio is first let me write down the formula. So that is dividend divided by net income. So the dividend is 1200,000. So we have 1200,000 over here. And the net income was 2 million. So we have the payout ratio is 60%. 60% is being paid out. And if 60% is being paid out, इसका मतलब क्या है, 40% is being flowed back in the business, which is being retained. So 60% आप shareholders को दे रहे हो और 40% आप business में दोबारा reinvest कर रहे हो, which is the case. Total net income कितनी है, 2 million. इसमें से 800,000 आप बिजनेस में reinvest कर रहे हो, फ्लो बैक कर रहे हो, which makes 40%. और 1200,000 आप शेयर होल्डर्स को दे रहे हो in the form of dividend, which represents 60% of the net income. So let's go back. So we have done this part as well. Now if a 60% payout ratio is maintained for the foreseeable future, what is your estimate of the present market price of the common stock? So now in part C we are supposed to calculate the price of the stock, and it says that the payout of 60% will be maintained in the foreseeable future. So we are going to assume कि ऐसा होगा कि ये payout फ्यूचर में मेंटेन किया जाएगा. अगर ये payout फ्यूचर में मेंटेन किया जाएगा तो इसका ग्रोथ रेट भी फ्यूचर में मेंटेन होगा, बिकॉज आपका जो ग्रोथ रेट का फॉर्मूला होता है इट इज़ रिटर्न ऑन इक्विटी 1 minus the payout. So if the return on equity remains the same and the payout remains the same, most probably growth rate भी maintain हो जाएगा future में. So 60% पे, now let's go back over here. 60% is a new payout. इस payout के ऊपर growth rate क्या था after the founder left? It was 6%. So यहाँ पे जो growth rate है वो आपका use होगा 6% का. और आपके पास क्या गिवन था क्वेश्चन में, आपके पास आर भी गिवन था विच इज़ 14%. स्टॉक प्राइस का फार्मूला आप कांस्टेंट ग्रोथ का फार्मूला यूज़ कर सकते हो यहाँ पे. सो यू नो दैट आर इज़ 14%. you know that the growth rate is 6%. You need the dividend per share. तो dividend per share भी आपने calculate किया है. Here is your dividend per share, which is 6. So if you solve this, the stock price over here will be 75. Okay. So we calculated the stock price at a payout of 60%, this is basically the stock price after the founder left. Now moving ahead, it says how does this compare with the market price that should have prevailed under the assumptions existing just before the news about the founder's retirement? So if the founder would not have retired, then what would have been the stock price? So let's go back. So now we're supposed to look at the situation before the founder left. Okay, so before the founder left, the situation at that time was that they were paying out 20% and the growth rate was 12% at that time. So the payout was 20% and the growth rate at that time was 12%. So they paid out less and they were reinvesting more of the income in the business before the founder had left. So again we can use the same formula. So R is still 14%. This will not change. The growth rate is but now 12% and this 12% is being maintained over here because payout 20% है. जब 80% फ्लो बैक हो रहा है, रिमेंबर मैंने ग्रोथ का फॉर्मूला यहाँ पे आपको दिया था. ग्रोथ इज इक्वल्स टू रिटर्न ऑन इक्विटी 1 माइनस पे आउट. बेसिकली रिटर्न ऑन इक्विटी मल्टीप्लाइड बाय फ्लो बैक. 1 माइनस पे आउट का मतलब क्या है? फ्लो बैक. सो ओवर हियर योर पे आउट इज 20. इसका मतलब है यहाँ पे आप ज़्यादा दोबारा बिजनेस में री इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो. 80% बिजनेस में दोबारा फ्लो बैक हो रहा है. 80% री इन्वेस्ट करने पे ग्रोथ रेट इतना हाई है 12%. ग्रोथ रेट इज़ हाई बिकॉज द फ्लो बैक अमाउंट इज़ हाई. ठीक है, पे आउट कम है, फ्लो बैक ज़्यादा हो रहा है जिसकी वजह से ग्रोथ रेट ज़्यादा है. तो इसका मतलब क्या है कि अगर पे आउट कम है, डिविडेंड यहाँ पे कम पे हो रहा है. यहाँ पे जो डिविडेंड पे हो रहा है वो 20% पे हो रहा है. सो यू कैन नॉट यूज़ दिस डिविडेंड ऑफ 6. ये 6 रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है 60% पे आउट, राइट. ये जो 6 था, ये देखो यहाँ पे हमने जो 6 पे कैलकुलेट किया वो 1200,000 से किया है जो कि 60% पे आउट रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है. बट नाउ द पे आउट इज़ 20%. ठीक है, सो पे आउट का फॉर्मूला लिख लेते हैं और डिविडेंड दोबारा से कैलकुलेट करेंगे. पे आउट का फॉर्मूला है डिविडेंड डिवाइडेड बाय नेट इनकम. सो पे आउट हमारे पास है 20% इन दिस सिचुएशन. व्हाट विल बी द डिविडेंड इफ द कंपनी जस्ट पेज आउट 20%? नेट इनकम इज 2 million. सो डिविडेंड की अमाउंट हो जाएगी, इधर डिवाइड हो रहा है, उधर जाके मल्टीप्लाई हो जाएगा. सो 400,000 इज द डिविडेंड ओवर हेयर. ठीक है, यू नीड टू रियली अंडरस्टैंड दिस दैट यहाँ पे जो डिविडेंड है वो 400,000 का है, वेराज पहले आपने डिविडेंड क्या रखा हुआ था? 1200,000. सो अब क्या हो रहा है इस सिचुएशन में बेसिकली जो 2 million की नेट इनकम है उसमें से सिर्फ 400,000 which means 20% is being paid out in the form of डिविडेंड्स, और जो बाकी की अमाउंट है 1600,000 that is being reinvested back into the business. So 80% reinvestment जब हो रही है उसकी वजह से 12% ग्रोथ रेट है, जो कि इतना हाई है. अगर बिजनेस में कुछ इन्वेस्ट ही नहीं करोगे तो बिजनेस में ग्रोथ ही नहीं होगी, राइट. तो जितनी ज़्यादा बिजनेस में रीइन्वेस्टमेंट होगी उतनी ज़्यादा बिजनेस में ग्रोथ होगी. So over here the dividend that is being paid out is 400,000. Now what is then the dividend per share? डिविडेंड पर शेयर हो जाएगा जो आपने डिविडेंड की अमाउंट कैलकुलेट की है डिवाइडेड बाय द नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स. सो 200,000 का डिविडेंड पे हो रहा है, 400,000 का, और नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स हैं 200,000. सो dividend per share is 2 now over here. So at a payout of 20%, the dividend paid out one share is 2. So now you know कि D1 इस situation में 2 है. So if you calculate the stock price now, it's coming 100. So before the founder left, उस वक्त जो stock price थी वो 100 की थी, and after he left, stock price हो गई 75. So it dropped from 100 to 75. Now there are multiple reasons why this could have happened. Number one is that the news that the founder left could in itself have triggered the event. जब news आई कि founder जा रहा है, so all the investors might have thought कि अब जो है stock की price नीचे जाने वाली है. So once investors start to think this कि stock की price नीचे की तरफ जाएगी, reduce होगी, they will want to sell out the stock, इससे पहले उनको loss हो. तो अब उन्होंने sell किया होगा तो stock की price आपकी reduce हो. Okay, so wait, let me do it full screen. So yeah, we were discussing that why can this happen, and another reason might be that it may be due to the clientele effect. Clientele effect क्या कहता है कि your different clientele want a different dividend payout ratio. So maybe the investors were those that wanted high capital gains. They were more interested in the growth rate जो कि 12% की थी पहले. So they were looking for high capital gains, लेकिन business ने dividend अब ज़्यादा देना शुरू कर दिया और growth rate तो capital gain उनका कम हो गया. So if majority of your investors were those that were interested in low dividends but high capital gains, they would have been unhappy by this move कि अब dividend ज़्यादा पे होगा और growth rate कम है, so capital gain के chances कम है. So because of that even many shareholders might have sold out the stock. इसी तरीके से आप और theories भी इसके ऊपर apply कर सकते हैं. So with this we have solved our question. So let me turn this down. So ये हमने तीनों part solve कर लिए.